Well, welcome back to Cali Roots to Tennessee Boots. This is a follow-up with the seed starting video I did a few days ago. So was first shot on January 24th, and I planted them on the 17th. So you have 7 days later, and this is what we have. So it's time to thin them. These are the tomatoes, and they have germinated very well. I'm pulling out the extra seedlings to a point. I like to leave 2 in each cell that are healthy just to have a backup. And as they get bigger, I'll thin them out some more. And there's a few more cells that still need to germinate, but that'll happen quickly. I have ideal temperatures for the germinating of these seeds, so they're doing very well. Trying to put the humidity tone back, and I'm using the high-rise dome because the seedlings have already outgrown the standard, I think, 2-inch height one, but I still want them covered, keep the moisture in and the warmth in for them. So they come with these vents, and you have to insert the little window plugs that you can rotate to change the amount of venting, and there's 4 of those in each one. So they just snap into place. So this is what it looks like installed. When they're new, they're very nice and clear. So I decided I better give these some more water before I put them up on the rack. So I have this cordless sprayer that's made for spraying insecticides or just water, and that's what I've got here, just water in there. That runs on my Makita batteries. Nice to be able to have the gentle spray just to water the top while there's still some that are germinating without disturbing the soil much. I'll later just go to a watering can when I'm watering tops, but otherwise I lift one of the seed packs up and pour the water and fertilizer that I mix in into the bottom and let them soak up. Here's the second flat. This one has the spinach and several peppers. And there's the beginnings of the peppers. Seedlings are sprouting. The largest greenery there is the spinach, baby spinach. Now it's time to give them a drink. They really take off at this point, getting fresh moisture in the top layer. I think the seedlings below were already starting to sprout, but just needed another drink to really get them to thrust up. And as you'll see in the other videos, as progress goes, they really take off. Here's flat number 3. And the large greenery there is the bachelor's buttons. It's time to thin them out. So here's flat number 3. This is with all the flowers, and they're the slowest to germinate. Most of them are very tiny seeds. So I'm looking closely to see what I can see, and then I'm giving them another drink. So there's the first sprouts of the flowers, which are the foxglove. Quite a few. They're the tiniest little seeds. So I'm adding additional water in the bottom so it can soak up, because that flat felt pretty dry. This is day 9 after planting the seeds. And I'm in my rain jacket because it's actually raining today here in California. So we have foxglove here, and it's coming up by the thousands. Delphinium here, and it is starting to come up. It's really tiny. I'll get a close-up in a bit, but there's a little sprout right there. Oh, there's another one there, another one there. Yeah, they're coming up. They're just slower. Slide over here. We've got columbine here, and it doesn't look like anything's up yet. But on the supreme cantaloupe coneflower here, we have quite a few. Now, I just watered these yesterday. I think there was like 1 or 2 showing, at that point, but since I watered, there's several more that are coming up. If you notice, I've got heat mats down here. Helps a lot. Keep that soil temperature range on sprout. This is just cheap shower curtain I have that's zip tied to this chrome rack. You probably will see in the kitchen, Dutch commercial kitchen. I have Bolivian rainbow peppers. Those are the decorative, the Prill multicolored peppers. This is the Serrano chili, and now I am seeing little bitty sprouts coming up, so that's cool. Forget-me-nots. Now I see first one, if that's what this is. Sometimes seeds go flying and could be something else, but for sure I see one right here coming up, so it must be that. Now these that are large already, these are bachelor's buttons, and these are Canterbury bells, and I am seeing a large number of them coming up right in here. This one here is full of them. This one does. These cells don't have anything. Familiar. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little fuzzy tail on it, and that's so that the wind can catch them and they can stick to things and it carries their seeds around, much like the way weed seeds do. But that's okay. If weeds look that pretty, I'm all for the weeds. They're already getting secondary leaves. Let's get that big dome off. This is the temperature probe for the heat map, so I'm leaving that stuck in there. And it says 81 right now. So I'm turning around where I can see the names. And this first 6-pack is Big Beef Tomato. So that's a beef steak. Oh, there's an extra one we don't need. Anyway, we'll go back to identifying them. We got Big Beef here. We got the Traveler 76. Now, the last video I did, none of the Travelers were even up yet. And now we've got a good portion of them up. I have, looks like one cell that doesn't have one. Moving on, we've got a beef steak. Now that one was Big Beef steak. This one's just labeled beef steak. It was one of those store-bought packets, so I don't know what variety it actually is. That's the only drawback to buying those. And we got San Marzanos. They are doing very well. These are for canning, and I love the taste of San Marzanos as a paste or sauce. Pinto. Okay, this is Opalka here, and these are a very large variety of pear tomato. Also aroma for canning and for sauce. Then we have Viva Italia. That's another Roma. Just another variety. Just to have fun and see what the difference is going to be. I see I've got basil growing in there. And then the last trays we have Optimax 2, which is another Roma. And we have basil. So, you know, I guess if you blender these all together, you'd have tomato sauce, huh? Or spaghetti sauce. You got your basil and you got your tomato. That's the only issue with California, particularly here in the Central Valley of California, is the heat. As I've spoken before, it gets 110 plus, which we got a really hot summer last summer, and they just stop producing, period. So if you don't already have tomatoes set and growing and that heat comes, they will ripen what's already there green prematurely, and they won't get very big. Because I'm already set up for viewing these. Oh, it looks like I need to put a bigger dome on here now. These are spinach, and they have outgrown the height of that dome, and it's not good to let them be touching the dome. Looks like, yep, I've got more coming up over here and more here. Good. So I've got California Wonder bell, red bell pepper. Looks like they're all sprouting. I've got ghost chili peppers, and I'm seeing 3, 4 of them. I've got paprika here. They're finally coming up. I have all but 2 cells having them come up. Got jalapeno M, which are considered, they're supposed to be real hot jalapenos. And yeah, I have planted these before, and I can affirm that they are hot. Then I have another one that was just listed as jalapeno. I don't know what this is. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got little spiky leaves on it. Whatever that is not a pepper, that's for sure. All right, so these are all jalapenos, and these were a pack of the commercial bought jalapenos. And we got pepperoncini. These are the Greek chilies, the yellow ones you get like in your sandwiches. So those are doing well. We have 2 cells with nothing, but more than I have room to plant anyway. And then these are Anaheims. Now, my wife likes mild green chilies, and we use them in cooking. So I thought I'd go ahead and grow some Anaheim. I like hot chip peppers, and she doesn't. She likes mild. So I thought, well, I'll grow some that she likes as well, and maybe we can use them in some cooking. I was going to show you the ghost peppers. I don't think you can see through the plastic. There's a little one there. And there's a little sprout right there. And these are the California Wonder bells. And of course, the spinach. Here's all those tomatoes. Here's the serranos. I'm going to go close up so you can see those little seedlings. They're all coming up. The Bolivian rainbow, I don't see anything yet. And the bachelor's buttons. Forget me not. And finally, the lupin. I'm doing the hardest thing that people who propagate seeds ever has to do. And I think I speak for everyone that does that, is having to thin your seedlings. So this is the foxglove, and they are tiny, tiny little seeds the size of grains of sand together. So you need to thin them out and pull their little bitty roots out. And I'm using tweezers because my fingers are too fat to be able to do any good. I'd just rip them all out. Now, at first, I'll remove the ones around the edges and in the clusters where there's a lot of them together. I just start picking them apart till I have some space between them. And there's the seedling. Welcome back. Well, another checkup on the seedlings. This is day 13, and we have a lot of growth here on the bachelor's buttons. As you can see, it's growing like weeds. Bolivian rainbow peppers have not sprouted at all, and at this point I don't expect to see them sprouting. The serrano chilies, we've got what looks like 100% germination. They took a while, but they're doing fine. Then we have forget-me-nots, and a little disappointed in their germination that I'm only seeing 2 out of the 6 for some reason. I'm pretty sure I sprinkled quite a few seeds of that. Then we've got the Canterbury bells. They're doing quite well, and it's time to thin those out. And finally, over here on this side, we have the lupin, and it's doing quite well. It's already sending out interesting sprouts here, and I'll show you up close in just a second here. It's got this tall growth up here that looks totally different from the primary leaves from the seedling. Really interesting. There's a smaller one there. There's another one there. So it's going to be interesting to see what this ends up looking like as it matures. Alright, so I've got this set up so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to be thinning out these Canterbury bells. They're looking a little dry, so I do need to get them watered. As you can see, there's a lot of them. Next up, we have the next tray with the cantaloupe coneflower, the columbine, foxglove, and the delphinium. Right there. So when there's one, there's more. I think it just needs a surface watering because there's no roots yet. And I think once I water, they'll suddenly appear. So here's the flat with the tomatoes. And that's pretty exciting because they're really growing like mad. So I know that I'm gonna have to repot these before you know it. They're getting so big, I'm betting that their roots are sticking out the bottom. And they are. You can see that right here. So they're already reached the bottom and are doing well. Here's the fourth flat with all the peppers in it. And they're germinating very well. Some sooner than others, but overall doing very well. More than I can plant, honestly. I usually end up giving some away to friends. And you know, there's some varieties here that you can't get in the nursery, so it's always welcome trying something different. Now I am going ahead and pulling these second sprouts that I left in here because they aren't needed. Look at the length of that root. Yeah, I mean 6 of each of these is more than I can handle as it is. So let those have, look at that, look at the established roots. So in case you're wondering, I have the flaps open to my seed starting rack, and the temperature is about 60 degrees. That's with it open, so it's probably around that here in the garage. Now I just watered these, remember, so we can look at the soil temperature. And now I've got, it was 65, now it's 66. So it's cooler because I just watered it with a cold drink. But the other day it said 82. So it's doing its job. We see the condensation on the humidity domes. Not up here, but they're still fine. So we'll check back in a few days and see the progress. One other thing I wanted to mention are these flowers in the pots down on the floor. These are called Cleome Spider Blend, and the official name is Cleome hasleriana, the Latin version of the name, and it's supposed to grow 4 to 5 feet tall and spreads 24 inches wide. I started it in these seed starter trays just like all my vegetables, and they got too big to be in there, and I transplanted them in these clay pots. Right now there's no other blooms on them, but they will be opening up more blooms. I believe that one was a white one, and that one might have been kind of a purpley color, and this is kind of pinkish. It's an interesting bloom, but they've had their whole life here in the garage. and they're doing quite well. You can see Oliver there. You can see compare the size to him. It's a good sized plant. Oliver's ready to go in. It's about 10:30. He wants to go to bed. Don't you, Oliver? Yeah, he's indifferent. He gets nervous in the garage because sometimes I have to run the air compressor and blow air for something, and he freaks out from that. Gets all shaky. So he remembers that, and then he gets all scared when he comes in here. The other guys, they're laying around with me also. There's my next project, replacing the door seal on my deep freeze. Hey, Otis. Good boy. Hi, Sasha. Good girl. Hi, Major. You all ready to go in? They've already had their bones, so they want to go in and sleep. So, well, we'll see you in a few days and see how well the seedlings are doing.